Hola, ¿cómo estás? Good day. How is everyone doing? Let me test the chat if this one works this week. Today, Tower of God, chapter 203. Back-to-back streams, like weeks. That's a mighty strong thing for me, I guess. So 203. Last week we were still in the flashback, and saw a small confrontation between Lusleg and White Steady, also known as Ariahon. Was both of them didn't seem to be super serious, so not much to say there. It's just like Lusleg at least isn't afraid to fight. Like Haku said that Lusleg's stocks are going up, but I'm not so sure about that. Like, he's a cool guy. He isn't afraid to fight, which is quite something important. But I don't know how well he actually competes to all of these people. I mean, he is up there in the rankings, but I do wonder when was the last time those like top rankings actually got updated. It seems like there was an update during the time skip between season 2 and 3 because Evankel fell down. I think there was back then. So I did something in the top rankings change. When will the next change be? Will Bum ever be in the top 50, or will those rankings just be completely abolished before when he like reaches those high places? But for now, let us get into today's chapter. There they are, the mighty bird. Look at his bald head. Amizu, you going? Amarites past 5. Shh. Did you really station a warp fleet there? Yeah, trust me. That was the only place around here where I could hide it. I parked the warp ship on that floating island. Ah, I see. Over there. That's the island. This way. Click, click, click. I remember this floating island. This is where I first settled down and began living with Traumerei. And there he is again. Traumerei! I should have known. So you had me brought here? How could you think of leaving without even saying goodbye, Amizu? I knew something wasn't right on the way here. I see what's going on now. That's Enkidu. Why did you leave without telling me? Come on, let's go back together. Traumerei. Let's go home. Traumerei. Traumerei, Amizu, I understand your desire to leave home and venture out into the world, but we already finished climbing the tower that day. That wasn't my decision. I never agreed to that. Don't be silly. The gate is already closed. No, it's not over yet. We're going to open the gate. Once more. Gate open start. Are you saying you wish to betray Sahar and us? No, that can't be. You remember what we suffered that day, don't you? The people who worshipped us like gods while we climbed the tower suddenly turned against us once they found out that we closed the gate. They bombarded us with curses and committed the most beastly atrocities. What in the world did we do to deserve that? If it weren't for us, those losers would have never climbed anywhere in the tower, let alone reaching the top. Are you really going to open the gate and begin climbing the tower again like they want? That's right. I don't forgive them for what they did, but ultimately, I belong with them. We share the same goal. I hate to admit it, but it's true. That's why I first agreed to join you all. I couldn't bring myself to forgive them, but with time I became less certain of my decision, and I realized this isn't great. This isn't right. Just because you don't like them, that doesn't give you the right to close the tower's gate on them. I need to know why our generation isn't allowed to reach the top of the tower. I can't go on living anymore without knowing the truth. Because I climbed the tower with you, and I have a right to know. I don't mean to sound like I'm criticizing you, Traumerei. All I want to say is that I don't agree with you anymore. We're too different now. I can't be with you. I want to see this journey to its end, even if I have to fight you all. I'm leaving. Traumerei. Am I lonely? No, of course not. You're all I need. I want to keep living here with you. Let's think about anything scary or complicated. Let's not think about anything scary anymore or complicated. All I want to worry about is how we're going to decorate this pretty home, what to wear tomorrow, and what to eat for each meal. Am I okay, you ask? Of course. I'm happy, Traumerei. They did look very pretty, happy there, and pretty as well. I mean, I do think that what Amizu is saying here was not technically a lie, even though she's a blonde in Tower of God. I don't think she was just lying to Traumerei since the very beginning. As she said, over the time, over the different decades, millennia, or however long that was, centuries, millennia, whatever, she probably changed her mind. She is, like, people change, and she didn't want to stay in one place any longer. So, makes a lot of sense to me. But I do wonder what was the main reason that they didn't want to climb anymore. Was Zahard actually so scared that the things after that gate would be so much more powerful that even they couldn't compete anymore? Or was it something completely different? Because whenever I think about the potential that Zahard was scared about what's behind the gate, that just makes me think. So, okay, Bum is going to get together with some of the alive family he has in the future, and they are going to be his companions, but when he gets past the gate, which was locked by Zahard before, and they get to the next floor, suddenly all the family heads are not powerful enough to fight with Bum anymore, and they just get thrown away as well? Is that what we're going to do? Introduce new, stronger characters that are more relevant than the family heads that we have been built up for so long, for 620 chapters? That's something I'm kind of scared of. I do, like, because I don't think that after Bum defeats Zahard and these gates are going to be opened, that there will be, like, quick finger snap ending or something. I don't think that will be the case. So maybe it's more going to be that the gates will be opened and Zahar is going to be continuing to climb with some people. Maybe Zahar and Rachel will be climbing together, and then Bamhai will have his people and they will confront each other on different parts, like more of a race kind of thing. But I do wonder how this whole thing is going to develop, because at this pace, like looking at everything, I don't think that these gates will be open before like chapter 1000, which is insane. I want to live together like this, forever. You said you wanted to live together forever. Remember, Amizu? Oh, look how she's pitying him. That's the look of somebody who's pitying you for literally not being able to see the problems you're experiencing. She's hurt by just those things. I'm sorry. It's not possible anymore. You've changed too much. I can't stand to see you like this any longer. Because I now know. I know now. I know what you do in that new house of yours. And what you and Zahard want. I think we should go our separate ways. So, I think this was before he did all of the canine people and like the cat people. So, is that what she's talking about? That, she knows that Traumara is creating like a race completely obedient to him that will be completely controlled by him and also Zahard. It was all just talk, no more than an excuse. Enkidu knew Traumara hadn't changed. He still loved Amizu. The same as always. Amizu was the one who had changed. I think both have changed, and Enkidu is just not capable of noticing that. Her feelings for Traumerei changed, and now she wanted to run away. Enkidu could feel rage boiling in him. An uncontrollable, unstoppable rage. I'm leaving, Traumerei. Take care. It was too much for him to bear. Enkidu, look after Traumerei for me. He couldn't contain his rage. And he killed Amizu. Any longer. Slice, splatter, crunch, scram. Is he also eating her? Look at those veins on the eye. Oh, that's disgusting. When he finally came to his senses and opened his eyes. He saw Amizu lying there. Her body had been brutally mutilated by his blade. The only sound in his ears, the bird screaming, was the crane's sad, bitter song of mourning. The heart-wrenching melody brought him back to reality. A moment later, his whole body was overcome with a terrible chill. Enkidu had lost control. What have I done? He couldn't hold back. Fury within him. Okay, let's see. I mean, looking at this, so obviously we all expected Enkidu to kill Amizu. But what I'm seeing here is kind of creating a question for me. So, Traumerei just watched him continue to attack Amizu over and over and over again. He wanted Amizu to stay. So, did he not want to interrupt Enkidu killing her? Why did he not step in? And like the top comment said, I wonder what Traumerei and Zahad were working on. I still think it has to be like the cat canine stuff. That totally makes sense to me. But I wonder why Traumerei didn't step in. And I also wonder did Amizu just let it happen? I mean, the first attack I get. Like she was ambushed in a way. But Amizu climbed the tower with them. Assuming that most of the time the family heads were the main fighting force, but we do know that the other characters were also not weak, like looking at Luzlek, for example, who climbed with them, or some other people. So now that begs the question, was Amizu just a very weak person that climbed together with them? Or why did Amizu not counter in any way at all? Okay, let's see what other people said. This week's chapter are upset. Honestly, I felt this was weaker than the last few, but that might be because we had such a tight focus and got cliffhanged so hard. When I reread this week's chapter and next week's chapter need to be read together. I get cliffhanged so hard I'm not really sure what to think yet. It feels like a chapter ended with kind of mid-fall, mid-scene, and I can't really judge without more context from the future. I mean, I get both what you said, Haku. By the way, welcome to the stream. Hope you had a nice day, and it's only going to get nicer from here on out. But I also get what Lux says, that they probably think that this needs to be read together with next week's chapter. Like, I have no idea what next week's chapter will be about, because I look at nothing. No scores, no future chapters, nothing. I mean, I can technically look at the small picture here, seeing how... Nah, even looking at the small picture, I have no idea what that depicts here. Is that... Just woke up, your stream was really buried in my feed, usually really screwing over. But I already accepted it. I already decreased my video output to just one a week because I am working on other stuff as well right now. And I'm only writing this One Piece fan story that I know not many people are interested in. I mean, I literally released a One Piece fan story that is already over 150 episodes long. Like, I'm competing with One Piece here for length. But, I'll just stay with those Webtoon reactions for now. I think that's fun. Looking at this picture, is this Edan? Is this Yeon? This is the woman from the Yeon family? Because I don't think this is like Hon. Like, I know it's super tiny for you guys. I can even remove the filter for a second, I think. Like, who is that? I think it's Edan? Edwan? Not sure. Oops. But yeah, I think we need to see next week's chapter. My biggest question is, why did Traumerei do nothing? Edwan, I'd assume. So, looking at the image, if that's Edwan and he looks slightly furious, I wonder if Edwan is attacked. Like, is Traumerei in complete shock here right now, and Edwan is going to step in and be the one to attack Enkidu mainly? Then, it's so weird to me. Like, why is Traumerei not doing anything? Was Amizu just super weak when climbing at the tower? Is Enkidu just incredibly powerful? I, I'm just confused. I feel like I can't say much without knowing more. It was such a weird scene, kind of underwhelming if that's it. I get what you mean. Like, obviously, he's not entirely showing us like the attacks because he doesn't want. The funny thing is to me, like looking at this, like you see this is a bladed weapon, right? This is like Ichigo's Sanpakuto basically. Ichigo's sword, literally. And then we see slash. And then slice, slash, splat, splatter, crunch, squawk, which is the bird, I think. Another squawk from a bird. And then you see her. She kind of looks like she... What did you slice, man? Like, Seo is not afraid to mutilate characters. We have seen that with Tiara when she was active. So could he not have at least made it like so that they'll maybe make a cut in the middle of the body here, make a cut to cut the arm off? I know I'm asking for some more gore, but it kind of feels weird for her to be this bloody and still to be entirely together with all of her body pieces. But I don't think that's why it's underwhelming. It just feels like Amizu didn't even resist in any way. She wanted to leave, but she was crying for being sad that Traumerei changed or she had changed. So, did she perhaps just accept this fate as well? I don't know what these characters are feeling here. And like even Enkidu for acting with "What have I done?" Like, you know exactly what you have done. You know that you attacked Amizu because you were enraged because she betrayed Traumerei, and that's what you did. Like, it makes total sense. Kind of confusing. Let's see, have to see spoiler now. Okay, I'm scared of spoilers when I read. Traumerei just stood there and watched. I'm scared to click on these to watch more, to read more stuff, because even if people spoiler mark stuff, like not everybody spoiler marks them, so I tend to avoid reading the comments from other people. She asked why their generation couldn't finish climbing the tower, meaning they weren't the first. I mean, we do know that not Enkidu, Enryu and Fantaminum climbed the tower, and there must have been others before those two as well, right? I think I can only recall those two climbing up the tower. But perhaps there were others before that. I do think that there probably is an entire civilization. Like I don't know how many floors are after the gate. I wonder how much there will be. Like, I could assume, like, my best guess for a complete future, like, in the next, considering if we get every week a chapter, 8 years. So for, I don't know, 2030 Tower of God or something. I feel like in 2030 to 2032, maybe the gates will be opened or something. And then I wonder how much longer we will go. Like, if we're at chapter 1000 for the gates opening, will there be another 500 chapters? I think when we were around the 600 mark, but before 600, some people said we were like at the halfway point. Meaning we would be like, because Seo said something like that apparently. So apparently if we take that for like complete honesty, that would mean the Tower of God would be like 1200 chapters. Or like 1100 chapters. But I think like just guessing that 1.5k is the ending spot isn't too far-fetched. But then I wonder what will come after a gate will be opened. It's that like Tower of God is so weird to me because I know we're fighting for things, but I don't see the end picture. Like, what comes for Bum? What does Bum even want? Does he just want to defeat the family heads for now? No, because that's like what FUG wants. He accepted his fate, which came from V and his mother, Arlene, but I felt like Tower of God so far was more like, don't accept your fate, you can be your own person. Like, that's what other people were taught. Like, all the princesses, you don't need to accept your fate to be a princess, just be your own person. And now Bum instead accepts his fate to follow what Arlene and V wanted? feels kind of contradictory. So I I feel like I'm comparing One Piece to Tower of God a lot of times because it's another like incredibly long running story and one of my favorites, even though it has massive problems. I just feel like for One Piece, even though we have like all these small side missions, we know that the end goal really is Luffy wants to find the One Piece to become the king of the pirates. That's the end goal. It doesn't mean that this will be the last chapter, but there will be a lot of things. So I'm wondering like what the end goal for Tower of God really is, because I like there is an end goal for the whole revolution team, for the FUG team and everyone, but what comes after opening the gates? Like that would be an entirely sequel story or something. I'm kind of fine with that. For any series, for me, the journey is the destination. I just want to see the journey for as long as CEO feels like writing it. I don't really care about an ending. I get that. I feel like you talked about that some other time as well, where like you said that oftentimes you think endings are disappointing because it's super hard to make an ending really satisfying. And that's also why I think that open endings are pretty good for stories. But I feel like I just want to know why my character is doing something. Like, why is the protagonist doing this? For me, it just feels like I don't really understand Bum. Bum is for me, why is he doing this? Like, right now, he just gets pushed around and he needs to do this because people pushed him into this. But he doesn't want to do this. Like, he always said he just wants to climb together with his friends. So after dealing with all of the FUG stuff, couldn't he have just returned to climbing together with his friends? Why did Amizu and Traumerei do nothing? Why did Enkidu not remember anything? I would much rather see the journey fully fleshed out as long as possible than to have things rushed to an ending. I mean, I'm not saying we need to rush to the ending. I don't mean to rush to the ending. I just mean I want to know the drive behind the character. Like, Bum just feels empty. He's like, I do this for friends, but like, okay, like all this stuff is so weird. Bum is fighting for his friends, I guess, because everything important for him is inside of the tower now. But then again, he's not really fighting for his friends anymore because he just pushed into things all over and over again. I can't believe that Bum is still like in these chapters. This guy's he's pretty unconscious right now. I think the problem is that we've had no emotional core with Bum and his teammates in season 3. Our main emotional hook is also elsewhere. Deng Deng and Louis, Yama and Yasracha, now Traumerei, etc. Yeah. But I felt like that was also the prop. I basically only really had an emotional connection to Bum and his teammates in season 1. Even in season 2, I didn't really care for most of the teammates because already in season 2 it was like, oh, these aren't Bum's new teammates. Oh no, he left them. Like, we had quite some time with Sweet and Sour to grow attached to them, but then they just got thrown away to fall into irrelevancy, and they fell so far into irrelevancy that even the deaths of 2 important members that we thought were like important for big picture stuff, we just I didn't feel a thing for those deaths. Like, I feel something for deaths that matter, like in other stories. But in Tower of God, I have yet to experience a death that really shook me to my core, or at least brought out some sort of emotion except like indifference. Which is quite hard, but I feel like I'm a harsh critic of some stuff, but yeah. But yet, I feel like season 3 has its big problems. And these big problems need to be dealt with so that potentially season 4 can be better. Also, I do think that season 3 should end after the whole stuff here is over. Like the whole problem with Pobido and Lopobia, once this war is over, it really should be the end of season 3. Season 3 has been way too long anyways. I already feel like season 2 could be separated into like 2 or 3 seasons. Probably like 4 seasons actually. And season 3 also could be separated into 3 or 4 seasons already. So, like, it doesn't feel like a season. It feels like way more than a season. Like, it's multiple sagas. I think CU will build up lovable characters, but then he'll sideline them until no one cares anymore. True! Elaine, my beloved. Elaine, my beloved. CU has the problem of wanting to introduce more and more cool characters. And we do think these characters are cool. At least I think most of these new characters look cool, have cool powers, are interesting. But the thing is, because he keeps on introducing new characters, these already introduced and potentially established characters get sidelined, as you say. So he just wants too much. CU just wants way too much. You could remove a bunch of characters and just make other characters that were already introduced to the same thing that those characters could have done. We should end season 3 after this and with war stuff done. We should really focus back on climbing. The issue is CU's addiction to trying to make Bum too strong too quickly. I totally agree with you that I want to get to the standard climbing stuff because that's where Tower of God shone the most, like shined the most with like seeing the different floors, the different societies on the floors and those different things. But imagine going from this high stake war to just like, oh, Bum, Kun somehow who got revived again, Ruck now back together with Hutz, Anak, and Dorsey. Maybe imagine Verdi just gets sidelined and Narayat turns up again for some reason, and they just continue climbing the tower again. Like Bum is just like finger snapping, and those enemies are dead. Also funny to me, I never understood why Verdi got introduced. Like Verdi was there to give Miseng to give Miseng as and Prince some sort of small power up, I think. But Verdi is just like, oh yeah, Shibisu now has this anima girl on his team. Wait, didn't Shibisu already have an anima girl on his team anyways? What happened to Narai? At least tell me that Narai, the sword guy, I think I don't know, remember his name, maybe Amigo Charizard, tell me that those guys maybe died if you're never going to show them again. At least, or tell me they stopped climbing the tower and are now happy that they already became rich or something. Like, their character arcs are not finished. We're leaving stuff unfinished that, like, obviously it's not important, but yeah. The version from climbing to rescue Jinsung, but then we ended up here with Siu piling power-ups on power-ups onto Bum like never before in season 3. Yeah, and you already know that once Bum regains consciousness or Kun regains consciousness, they're going to get another power-up from absorbing, what's his name, Dumas' core or something. Somehow the Bum is going to devour the core of Dumas. It's going to get even more powerful to be immediately like top 10 level, top 50 level. And because Bum devoured the core while Kun was still inside of it, Kun somehow also got like part of that power up. You know, that's how it works. That's how these power ups have been in the recent time. Recently, I talked with somebody and told him that I think Tower of God is an isekai. And they told me, no, Tower of God is a classic tower climbing story. And I'm like, yes, it's a tower climbing story, but Tower of God is also a classic isekai. Bum got transported from another world to be inside of the tower, and he's now climbing the tower. Bum is a classic isekai protagonist because countless pretty women are lusting after him or are at least interested in him to build that isekai harem. Bum has the classic in OP power from isekai that he can just grow even more powerful than every other person. Like, this is a standard isekai. Starting season 3, Bum was absolutely super strong, but not like essentially top tier. And now he's top tier. And considering that I don't think too much time passed, That means Bam's growth in this season was the biggest we have seen so far. Like season 1 to season 2 jump was big, and in season 2 he grew a lot. Then from season 2 end to season 3 start, he also had a power jump. But from season 3 to now, this guy, he became a monster. Like a true monster. Tower of God isn't really an isekai, but also hasn't been a tower climbing story in a very long time. It's a really weird battle shown, I think. But what do you mean that, like, I feel like the isekai genre, what does it mean? Isekai just means another world. A character that gets transported from one world to another and then lives inside of that. If you go for the classic thing, it's either through a portal, through getting hit through a truck, through dying, or something else. Bam went through a portal, the gates to enter the tower. And then he was in another world. Except, like, we don't really know if the tower is another world or if it somehow is inside of the same world as, like, the world that he was in before. But, like, if we look at isekai, I feel like Tower of God would fall into that category. That begs the question for me if it actually is listed as isekai on stuff like AniList. Tower of God. Kaminoto. Superpower male protagonist, coming of age, apparently heterosexual, death gain, travel, battle royale, shonen, cultivation. Okay, it has cultivation in it. What are these tags? Strategy, survival, revenge, suicide? Why is that in there? And the growth before was really good, actually good. Yeah, it's Tower of God. Man, it has such big potential. It could have been massive. Could have been massive. And then it turned into still a great story, but so many problems. But I think that's enough Tower of God ranting for me for today. Yeah, Bam was always in a fantasy world. Isekai is about using a modern, real world character that you can relate to and then putting them in a fantasy world. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but not really? Like, have you seen the level 2 cheat Isekai with that wolf waifu? Chilling in another world with level 2 super cheat powers? Like, that's an Isekai, obviously, but the guy already came from a fantasy world. Isekai is just being transported from one world to another. Like, the classic thing is to be translated from from our world to another, like from our real world into a fantasy world. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the real world. It can be transported from any sort of world. Hold on, wolf waifu? Wait, let me send a picture of that in general in your chat server. That one. Here's a bigger picture of her. She also has a great voice actress. Let me level 2 super cheat any lists. Where was her voice actor? I remember her voice actor being incredibly good. But the right one looks better. I mean, you're not wrong. Who was her voice actor again? Rie Kugimiya. Where was she? She's known for a lot of stuff. Or was it... Was it Rie Kugimiya? Or was there somebody else who was important? No, it must have been Rie. I will definitely be watching LOL. Like, can I sort this by... Not by newest, but like... popularity. She speaks Momo Nishimiya from Jujutsu Kaisen, Juzo Suzuya from Tokyo Ghoul, Kathleen L. Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. She also speaks apparently Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist. She speaks Sugar from One Piece, Ted from No Game No Life, Taiga from Toradora. That's where you know her probably. Happy from Fairy Tail, yeah. Like she like that's a massive voice actor. Look at all these guys. She was even a character in God of High School. I recognize so many of these characters. It's insane. Like, yeah, that's a big voice actor. For like a random isekai of the season to get that voice actor, that says a lot. Louis Francois Leblanc de la Vallière. Oh, that brings me back. Aria Holmes Kanzaki. That brings me back so much. Toramaru Utsunomiya. Okay, that's enough of those guys. Okay, so I will thank you for watching now. I will be taking a short break before returning with Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. But for now, that's all from me for Tower of God for today. All that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Bye.